What's up, Liron here, and today I have a question for you. Are you ready to play some extreme sports with me? So let me explain. In this video, if you remember, we recently did the portrait painting video. I showed you how by choosing the right reference photos, focusing on strong contrasts, black and white or monochromatic, and focusing on shapes, you can create beautiful portraits. Today we're going to do the exact same thing, only without the pencil lines, which is why I say extreme sports. It's hard. It's a hard thing to do, and it requires a lot of focus, and it's hard narrating it, which is why my results aren't as accurate as I'd want them to be, but this is great. You see imperfect results. Okay, so not all of my paintings are perfect. The vast majority of them are just attempts aimed towards a more perfect result. Here's the first attempt, here's the second attempt. As long as you can see people here, I'm pleased with the result. And again, it's a bit of an abstract way of approaching it, and it's a great way of training yourself and being trained by fire to see the shapes more accurately without relying on any pencil lines or any crutches. It's just you and your brain and the paint. So with that being said, let's take it to the table. I'm going to show you exactly how it's done. So let me show you the magic that is direct pencil-less portrait painting. Now, the palette view isn't as important really because the paint consistency is going to be fairly the same throughout. My goal here is to just show you how I create the shapes. So I'm starting with the eye that's to our left. It's her right eye, but it's to our left, so her left eye. And I actually prepared two reference photos, and you'll have to forgive me if I mess this up because it's really hard, and you have to focus on the shapes you see. So if I mess this one up, I have backup, and I'm going to show you the other one as well. So you see here, this is just a shape. I know it can be intimidating, but it's just a shape that's connecting to her nose, okay? Then we have this sharp little dip here that suggests at the shape of the nose. There is a gradual change, so I can wet my brush, come back, and help some of the paint, not a lot of it, but some of it move a bit. If I want to, just kind of soften that edge up a little bit. Now, what I have to do is look for the next shape I can put in. And you really want to look for the next one that will be easy for you to put in, okay? Because this is complex. So let's say we have this corner of the eye here, somewhere around here. And this is the bottom line of the eye. And then we get all the eyelashes showing through here. You can actually see them. And then we have the eyelid or pupil. I keep conflating words together, but it's here, okay? Somewhere around here. I'm just following the dark shapes. This entire thing is in the shadow, in fact. And then we have this kind of a thing going on here for the bottom of the eyelid, and you can still see some of the eyelashes and their shadow coming through here like that, okay? And this actually connects to the hair. So I can put in the shadow on the hair, kind of like that. And I don't have to close off that shape just yet. I don't have to continue, because I don't really care about the technique here or getting an even wash. All I care about is rendering the different shapes I see without using any pencil lines, okay? A bit of an extreme sport. You don't have to do this. But if you want to, it's a really good exercise in seeing shapes accurately. So now I'm going to just darken this little corner a bit, okay? Now, imagining the way this line moves downwards towards the bottom of the nose, I can see that there's this interesting shape. It kind of dips in and goes back out. And this is lighter, so I'm making it a little lighter. And then it kind of goes around the nostril, okay? Now, this bottom shape of the nose is fairly dark, and it's just that, it's a shape once again. So let's try and put that in. So we have the left side, then it goes, dips back in, dips back out, right side. Okay, you do want to make sure you figure out some of the proportions of the overall shape and how it fits within the context of the entire portrait. I'm just going from one part to another here, kind of winging some of the process. You can take your time with it, but again, if you just focus on the shapes you see, if you're accurate enough and a bit lucky, you'll get the impression you're after, okay? It's not always easy, really, but it works. If you can really follow the different shapes, see them as abstract shapes, it can really help. So, other side, other eye. there's the exact same thing going on with light and shadow. And this isn't an easy one, by the way, to execute. It's not an easy portrait necessarily because you look at it from the front, there's the whole symmetry thing going on. That's always a challenge for me, getting the other eye to be accurate. But notice how there's this shadow that goes all the way around the eye and kind of wraps around it, and then you see like goes like that near the other edge of the eye. So I want to get that in. Now almost all of the inside part of the eye is pretty dark. Let's get the upper part of the eyelid in. Not as accurate. There should be a larger gap here, but hopefully that makes sense. Then the inside of the eye is almost fully black here, really. It's fairly dark. And then we get another one of these nice little shapes that goes like this, gets wider the more it moves towards the right. This entire side is in the shadow, and we can see some eyelashes going over the shape of the shadow. This should be a little thicker. The eyebrow itself is a little lighter, so I'm just going to place it in kind of roughly with a bit of a dry brush effect. Same for the other side when it comes to the shadow to the side of the nose. So if you just follow the shape like that, you'll see there's a mid-value thing going on there, and goes around the nostril. Now it gets very light, so I'm just going to blend it into the rest of the shape while keeping it fairly light. Okay, I don't want to go too dark. It actually connects to this section, but you have to be very gentle because now I widen the shape in the middle. Hopefully that's not going to mess things up too badly. But if the overall impression is there, then I'm happy. But in any case, yeah, this is it. Now let's move on to the next large shape we can identify. And now I'm going to zoom in a bit more now that I can see where I'm going to place all the elements. So for me, the next shape is obviously the lips. It makes sense. It's a logical conclusion from this side. Now there is a part of the upper lip that's a little lighter. I'm going to try and preserve that, but I'm not going to kill myself over getting it as accurately as I can. Now notice this dip. The upper lip goes around this dip. See, like that. And it goes here. And this is the lighter area. Okay. And then from here on out, it gets significantly darker. So let's try and get that. And it ends somewhere around the middle of the eye. So somewhere around here. You don't see me putting in dots usually, but here I felt like it will really help us. Now, I don't mind these two blending in, the dark and medium values, because they're blended in the image reference as well. What I do care about is the shape of the lower lip. So notice how I'm carefully building it up without going over it, because there's just a lighter shape there. And this edge of the mouth is really important. You see there's this interesting triangular shapes around the edge. This is what leads to a very gentle, I guess, smile. It's not exactly a smile, but the facial expression. Now, what I want to do is also drop in one of these, there's these creases on the lips. Makes it a little more believable. Now, this bottom part is also fairly dark, so let me get that in. And I think once it dries, I'm going to put in the mid value for the bottom of the lip. Okay, but for now, we're going to keep it as is. Now, we've gone through the harder part, in fact. Let's now try and build the contours of the face. So there's this hair coming through here. We have a bit of a dark, a very light mid value going through here, so kind of like that. Now this part, actually, I'm going to use water to connect it to the mouth, like so. See, because this entire area is a little darker. And this is how slowly we shape, we shape the face, okay? We're literally shaping it by doing these things. This eyebrow should continue all the way up to here. And you have to take some pauses and assess the situation. Many times this gets very dark here. I know it may seem scary, but it's going to work out. The chin, it's fairly close to this shadow under the lower lip. So let's go over it like that, darken this area up. And again, to get the likeness, to get this to actually look like the person, you have to be much more accurate. So we're not discussing that kind of a thing right now. We're just discussing how we can create the shape of her face without pencil lines, just by looking at different shapes or elements within, okay? So here we go, like that. This can be blended a bit. This can be blended a bit. And we're starting to get something. And again, sometimes to expand the wash, I'm just getting some water on the brush, drying some of it, and then I'm helping the paint move. That's pretty much all I'm doing. And then here it gets fairly dark, so let's get that in. And we essentially have gotten the left side of the face pretty much done, like so. Now the hair, and getting its contours is going to provide a nice shape too. So let's get that. And I'm going to need some almost black mix here. So let me use a bit of my Carbazole Violet. Sorry that you can see the mixes. It's really not that important in this example. And this is where I am going to go around the hair here. Okay, so the background is dark. I'm really curious to hear your opinion about this kind of a video, because I know maybe, I don't know if it's going to be hard to follow, but it's definitely a concept that can be a bit intimidating. But I do want you to give it a try and just follow the shapes you see. A lot of people have reacted really nicely to the previous portraits video, so I think there is good potential here. So I'm upping the stakes on purpose and trying to challenge you, okay? Now here we've gone through the darks, and we have the very light highlights. Let's get the mid values. I'm gonna add a bit of yellow to the mix, because I feel like her hair is slightly, I don't know if it's blonde, but it's fairly light in places, and we're gonna add the mid values. So first we have a bit of a darker area here, like that. Bit of a darker area here. This area is a kind of a highlight, and then it gets slightly darker around here, and you see how it just starts to acquire a shape. These mid values really help to put things in place. So you see here, it makes the highlights actually exist, and that's what's important. And then I think this is close to finished, but here's something we can do. We can look at the reference and try and patch things up. Let me zoom out a bit. So now we're almost done once again, but there are a couple of different areas we can look at and add corrections and changes and modifications. So here, this should connect. So let's connect it very gently. This is too dark, so let me just come back with some water and spread it out, you see? So we're just gonna connect these two sides. Another thing we missed, notice how the top of the nose will always have this kind of a shadow on it, because the eye sockets dip in and the face goes kind of inside, so you get this shadow. And I'm gonna connect it to this area like so. And then let's blend the bottom. It shouldn't be an abrupt change, but rather a gradual transition. We have a bit of shadow under the hair here, which will bring out the hair a little better in its shape. But you see how slowly but surely this looks like it's pretty much close to done. This light area has a bit of a shadow on the left. Same here. This entire thing should connect with the side of the face, like that. This is also dark. You see how slowly we shape things up a little. Now this looks funny, maybe even like a double chin, only because you don't get the context of everything else, because we don't show it. But if you add more and more details to it, I'm gonna add her shoulders and more information in, that's not as important. I'm not gonna do that, but if I were to, you'll start seeing this take more and more shape. So this is what I wanted to show you. I'm pretty happy with this. I think we created the shape of her face in a nice, believable way. Oh, I did want to add a mid value here, just to this kind of a thing. Now, I think I'll show you another quick one afterwards. And this is one I started showing a student, but I haven't finished. Let's just get this mid value. And here, it's going to make the lower lips, upper section look a little more I guess, highlighted. So this helps putting things in perspective as well. Now I'm gonna rearrange some stuff. We'll look at another example. So I'm gonna go over this one fairly quickly. Okay, same principle. And let's see what we get. Again, a lot of it is about trust. You just have to trust that you are accurate enough and continue despite it not looking perfect. So I'm gonna actually start by defining the left shape of his face. So we have the forehead in here, kind of like that, and down there is just darkness. It's almost black, almost pure shadow. Then it goes around like that. We have the glasses I'm gonna add in just a moment, but before we do that, let's give this shape a definition. You see, from up top, it's his forehead. It goes around like that. If you can get these in one go, it's better. And then some hairs drop on the forehead and some highlights for the hair. But overall, this upper part is going to be a little darker. And this is kind of in the shadow. Now you could already put in the mid value, and notice how it looks like nothing. This looks like absolutely nothing, and this is great. It means we're on the right track, okay? So here's the forehead once again. Now the glasses. The glasses are fairly dark, so let's just get those in too. They come from this area all the way, almost up to, this goes around here, almost up to here. Okay, so this is the glasses, the part of them at least. Now here, notice how it connects to this dark shape underneath that helps define the eye. I'm going to add the mid values in a moment. For now, let's focus on the very darks. And I'm going to add the frame of the glasses, a bit of a shadow here. Now, there is a bit of a shadow underneath them like that, which helps us connect to the nose. So let me put in the nose, okay? Let's do this here. I'm going to just add its shape, and it's such a bizarre angle that it really helps us to just see it for what it is, just a very simple shape. And it goes around like that, and I haven't even drawn, again, anything. So if you're gonna draw, you saw how that works. It makes it much easier, but we're here to challenge ourselves with this particular one. And here we have the mustache. Now, again, always look at the negative shapes. If you have this mustache here, look at the triangle it creates. So don't just look at the shape you paint, but also the shape it creates as a byproduct, okay? This is incredibly important, and this connects to the shadow. Okay, now we're gonna continue in just a moment. I do want to add in some mid-valued shapes. So first, we have this nice little shadow coming through here, okay? Let's define the outside of the face too. So I'm just gonna get some dark paint, and we're gonna define the shape of the nose. So it goes around this area, like so. And it connects here. Goes around this, and it creates a very thin highlight. You see? And now we got some of the shape of the nose in around the other side of the glasses. So we're gonna leave a bit of a highlight, and we'll figure out the rest in a moment, basically. Okay, so here we go. Now the lip. The left side of the lip is fairly dark, so let's get that in. It connects to the mustache, and it creates another interesting triangular shape. So it goes like this, like that, and then it connects to the middle of the two lips, and it goes around like that. Okay, I'm just reading the abstract shapes. This may be incredibly boring to watch. I don't know. Let me know. It's a very strange video, but I feel like at this point I have to give you what I know you need, not what you think you need. I know that's a bit of a cocky thing to say, but I don't know. I just feel like so many people could benefit from this. So coming from a good place, I think doing this kind of a thing will help you so much. So I do want you to give it a try. Now let's put in the beard here, and now we can connect it to this. See, the mustache comes from here, and it gently connects to this shape. And you see how it starts to look like a face? I don't know, hopefully I'm not just imagining things, but it does start to come together and look like something. There's the ear here, but all we see of it is just two highlights. So that's one, that's two, and it's pretty much, it's not as accurate, but that's fine. Like this. Now there's a nice mid value going on the cheek. So let me add that in around here. See? And then it kind of connects to this shape. So around here. And then we get this kind of a light to mid value shape here. This is still the mustache. There's this light shape on the nose that defines the nostril. I hope you can see it. And this is why faces that are high contrast at a very weird angle, funny enough, work the best. Because then it's very easy to see all these small abstract shapes as nothing but abstract shapes. So here we go with the eyelid, bottom eyelid, and like that connects to this area, and I'm gonna add a bit of a darker shadow. The face kind of skews and stretches around the reflection on the glasses. So here it's really pure abstract. It's hard to interpret exactly what I see, so I don't even bother. I'm just putting in the shapes of light and shadow. It's not easy, but hopefully I got the point across. And this kind of looks like a face looking upwards. Now let me frame the top of the face, and I could take a break and look at the different elements here and try and improve them, but overall I think the impression is there. And you could come back also with a bit of a opaque white paint and bring back some necessary highlights, for example, that you lost, like you would do similarly in perhaps oil painting or acrylics. We're not going to do this now, but it is possible. And funny enough, I think we're done. It's a face, fairly abstract, but you can see a nose, you can see a mouth, you can see the... You have to persevere through these stages of uncertainty and not knowing exactly what it will look like, and hopefully it makes sense in the end. I actually really like this one, and from afar it will look even better, okay? But it's just an exercise in seeing this shape, okay? It's right here, and this shape, it's right here, see? And the shape that's created by the other shapes, it's right here between the mustache and the bottom part, which is the upper lip, okay? And this shape of the nose. Again, you have to practice seeing it. If you draw it, it's going to be a little easier, but you don't have to, again. So I hope you enjoyed this one. Now let's wrap it up face to face. So actually, before I wrap this up, I wanted to show you how you can observe later on and make corrections, because now I see why this face looks strange. It's just that I made this area too thick, so it really looks like a double chin where the double chin doesn't exist, okay? If it would exist, it will be cool, but it doesn't. So let me minimize this area here, and you see how it immediately makes so much more sense. It just looks more like the face itself, okay? It's these kinds of small corrections you're allowed to make, you're allowed to fix things up, and you can do it later on. You don't have to worry about getting everything done while the wash is wet or techniques. It's not as important when doing these kinds of exercises. You can always go back, and now I notice that there's a bunch of other shadows around the lower lip, so I'm just going to get them in around the chin. And you see how the shape makes more sense, it looks a little thinner now. So just an example of how you can improve, and now let's truly wrap it up. So I hope after seeing the process you get a clearer picture of how to do this thing. There isn't a lot more I can teach you, you just have to look at the shapes and not worrying about the technique or having the right edges or finishing everything while the paint is wet. Just take your time, look at every shape and try to recreate it slowly and as accurately as you can. This is what it's all about. Try and figure out the different distances. Measure them out if you have to. But the whole idea here is forget about accuracy. That's saved for later when you do a pencil. You can even use the grid method to get an accurate drawing. Here it's not about that. It's more about how you can render the shape accurately in pure watercolor, okay? So it's a really good exercise. It's gonna help you with everything. With landscape painting, with urban sketches, with portraits, with figurative work, everything. Okay, so I hope you found this helpful. Don't forget to drop a like if you haven't. It just tells YouTube to show this video to more people. And I couldn't be more grateful because recently a lot of my videos have gone semi-viral and got quite a lot of views. So I really am grateful for that. Thank you so much for watching. If you're not subscribed, you want to subscribe because I have tons of videos like this one. And I just want to thank you. I really, really appreciate you being here and watching the videos, and I'll continue making them, putting out my best advice and techniques and everything for completely free. And I tell this, I get emails once in a while that ask if getting the Udemy courses will help, or if getting my frustration-free watercolor course will help. And I tell them, if you learn well from YouTube and from the tutorials, especially if you have a big backlog of videos to go through of mine, because I post a lot, take your time with it. You don't really need to buy anything. All of the information is out there for free. The courses are a bit different. They arrange things in a bit more of a structured manner, but if you're good in learning alone, you don't really need them. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you again in the next vid real soon.